This is the one night all sorts of things roam free.
So I'm gonna say something very blasphemous to myself. I've always said that the original Halloween is my favorite horror movie, actually my favorite movie of all time. But there is a movie that represents Halloween better. The actual spirit of the Halloween holiday, the greatest time of the year. And that movie is Trick or Treat. Seriously, this is the best actual Halloween themed movie of all time. Sure, to be fair, Michael Myers does stalk his victims usually on Halloween night. But Trick or Treat really evolves around the Halloween celebration itself and all its little urban legends, myths, and monsters. The celebration of Halloween is a core element of every storytelling aspect of Trick or Treat. If you haven't heard of Trick or Treat, it's more of a modern movie. It came out back in 2007, and you know how Creepshow is multiple spooky stories in one? That's kind of what this is, but instead of Creepshow where they're not really connected to each other at all, this is multiple stories all happening on one evening, interconnecting with each other. It's awesome. Another main element of the story is the mysterious young trick-or-treater Sam. This character is so uniquely designed, he's right up there with all the classic movie monsters as a modern instant classic. With the appearance of a young boy in a costume, but there's more to him than what you see. You see, Sam's job is to visit one town a year on Halloween night to enforce the rules of Halloween. Rules such as wear a costume, hand out treats, and never blow out a jack-o'-lantern, among many others. If you do anything that disrespects Halloween, Sam will find you, and he will punish you severely.
Wait, not yet.
What?
You're supposed to keep it lit.
Why? This night's over. I hate Halloween.
Just think of Halloween as a nightclub and Sam as the bouncer. And the original idea for Sam came a while back. He's originally from an animated short that Trick or Treat writer and director Michael Dougherty created in 1996 called Season's Greetings. And it's pretty cool. It has this strange otherworldly vibe and appearance and sound. Had I seen this as a kid late at night, I would have freaked out. Sam's walking around trying to collect Halloween candy, and it seems that someone's following him to mug him. Eventually, he gets cornered and the mugger starts wailing on him, but Sam actually survives and takes away the mugger in his own trick-or-treat bag. Eventually, when Trick or Treat was created, his little monster was added in. But Halloween isn't all about Sam. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on in the small town of Warren Valley, Ohio. Before we get into it, I'd like to go ahead and introduce my Patreon page. If you'd like to help support the channel and allow me to continue creating content like this for all time, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month by clicking on the link in the description, or heading over to patreon.com/GamerThumbTV. And for their continued support, I'd also like to thank my current patrons and channel members listed in the description. The main stories in Trick or Treat aren't told in any specific order. We experience Halloween through the eyes of the town and the people living in it, and it all comes together nicely in the end. For example, in one moment you see a man going into his house, and he sees his neighbor getting attacked, and at the end we experience the story of what attacked him, but we don't actually see that until later. The actual timeline is all over the place. But I kind of like that because when certain moments happen later, you're like, oh yeah, that was the guy from earlier. Or, oh, that was going on at the same time as the other thing. This town's awesome. I would love to live there during Halloween time. They go big. There's a whole parade where everyone hangs out in a costume and parties it up. Where I live, there is nothing like that. And we open up with a group of girls changing in a changing room and a little kid's trying to sneak in some quick views. Right away, it's kind of an eye-rolling moment because it's clear that we're following some typical horror movie chicks that are stressed about boys and finding dates to a party that they're going out to in the woods.
You know, this might sound kind of forward, but, well, we're just in town for a party tonight, and I was wondering what time you get off work.
Oh, in about 20 minutes, actually.
Yeah? You know where Sheep's Meadow is?
Sure, yeah, of course.
All right, so why don't you meet me there in 45?
Okay, I guess.
But it is not what it seems. They're talking about eating some bad Mexican, being with sailors. It all takes on a completely different context after they reveal their secrets. The main character in this group is Rory, Rogue from X-Men, by the way. She's not confident about herself, and her older sister's concerned for her that she can't find a date, and keeps talking about how nervous she is about her first time. Meanwhile, some kid's going around the neighborhood being an absolute dick. He's stealing as much candy as he can get. He's crushing people's jack-o'-lanterns. He's got chocolate splashed all over his face. He's a glutton, and you may recognize him from Bad Santa. Same kid, just a little older here. But he gets caught by his school principal, Mr. Wilkins, a man that absolutely loves Halloween and has the utmost respect for its traditions.
That can't be good for your diabetes, Charlie.
This story deals with the urban legend, which I'm pretty sure has happened somewhere at some time for real. The one about where your candy can be poisoned by an evildoer. And Mr. Wilkins did just that.
See, my dad taught me tonight is about respecting the dead. Because this is the one night that the dead and all sorts of other things roam free and pay us a visit. Hey.
Okay. Need a root beer? Always check your candy.
This kid explodes into a fountain of chocolate spewing out, and Mr. Wilkins drags him into the house. He is one of the most entertaining characters in this movie, and he happens to be the most dastardly. He gets more trick-or-treaters and gives them some candy too, playing off the blood all over his clothes as costume. Oh, and there's Sam making his rounds, making sure Halloween is going in full swing.
Can you get one?
He does pop up frequently throughout the movie randomly and then goes away again, just to make sure that his presence is known. This entire scene is really shocking. Mr. Wilkins takes his body and buries it with another body too that he already had. I've seen movies where they kill kids before. An alien burst through a kid's chest in Alien vs. Predator 2, so it's nothing I've never seen before. So that alone isn't shocking, but it goes to a whole nother level. He's trying to bury the kid, not easily either. He keeps getting interruptions between his neighbor and his own son.
Please be quiet.
Why?
Because you'll bother the neighbors. Now go watch Charlie Brown, and I'll be in a minute.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Billy Wilkins. Language.
The neighbor's dog starts barking at him, so he chops a penis off, which obviously I can't show you here in this video, and he tosses it to the dog to get it away. Oh, but one of the kids are still alive.
Who the hell is that? I got an NRA membership in my pocket.
His neighbor, old Mr. Krieg, is a lunatic, the disheveled old man that lives alone next door, but we'll get more into him a bit later. Eventually, he decides to go inside to spend time with his son like any loving father would, and they participate together in father-son bonding activities, such as extreme pumpkin carving. Yeah, his son Billy's gonna grow up to be as much of a psychopath as he is. Then back to the trick-or-treaters that rang Mr. Wilkins' doorbell, another example of the storyline flowing seamlessly into one another. By this point, you already forgot about the trick-or-treaters. It didn't seem like they were gonna be main characters at all.
I don't even know what that was. Coach Taylor was in a hot dog costume, but fucking a pig, I think. And
Chip,
then...
let's just not.
This one reminds me of the Shudder Creepshow series episode, but in reverse. Instead of supernatural trick-or-treaters terrorizing the town, in this case we have trick-or-treaters encountering the supernatural. The trick-or-treaters pick up another kid along the way, Rhonda, and I feel so bad for her. She's that stereotypically nerdy girl without friends, so she just tags along with them, and she seems so friendly. She knows all the actual historical Halloween history, and of course the main girl Macy is a complete bitch, and doesn't really like Rhonda.
Is that Rhonda the retard?
She's not a retard. She's an idiot savant.
Here she comes.
I'm Schrader.
Rhonda.
This story deals with the urban legend, those tales that every town has where you're not quite sure if the story actually happened, or there's been some kind of embellishment at some point. As the story goes, 30 years before on a Halloween afternoon, a school bus full of mentally challenged kids were traveling through the town, and this story is really messed up actually. Their masks look horrifying, very obviously homemade, but that's what makes them so creepy looking. These poor kids, their parents wanted nothing to do with them anymore, taking care of them was too much of a burden, and they were embarrassed to have kids with special needs, so what do? They pay the bus driver to get rid of them. Wow. He doesn't just try to abandon them in the middle of nowhere either. He chains them down, starts passing out candy, but one kid dressed as Dracula, it seems, start realizing that something's wrong, and he takes action.
Home.
According to the legend, none of the kids survived and the bus driver was never seen again. Now these crazy kids are exploring where the accident supposedly happened, and they take a lift down into the quarry and leave some pumpkins as an offering to the dead kids. Turns out there is truth to the urban legend and the old bus is still down there, and they make the discovery of a lifetime. Zombies. The children are back as zombies and attack Rhonda. But never mind, it's all a trick. It was all a prank to scare Rhonda. That's horrible. She's the only one that wasn't in on the joke, and they all ganged up on her. And the kid that was originally sticking up for Rhonda, her kind of love interest in this story, pulls the ever popular "it was just a prank, bro."
It was all just a trick. Look, none of this is real. It was just a trick. A bad joke.
But you know what? Mean little children always get what's coming to them in these movies. It seems the prank they played backfired and actually awakened the bus kids. Zombies. And Rhonda takes her sweet revenge. Oh, and hello again, Sam. It seems that everything is going appropriately on this evening. But we're not done with Mr. Wilkins yet. He doesn't just run a school during the day and kill a child here and there at night. He's a straight up serial killer, prowling the streets at night, pretending to be a vampire, and cutting the blood vessels in women's necks. This man is a true monster, and I like that they acknowledge vampires, since they're classic elements of Halloween, even though he's just a regular guy wearing fake teeth. He just leaves his victim chilling over there by the wall bleeding out, but he's not finished yet. Mr. Wilkins also noticed Rory from earlier walking by herself alone in the woods. A young vulnerable girl frustrated that she can't find a man. And suddenly the monster strikes.
So, where's this guy you're setting her up with?
But wait, Who's the real monster? Not everything's what it seems here. And this was one of the biggest shockers for me when I first saw this movie. I didn't realize what role the girls would play. Maybe it was some sort of cult where they kidnap men and kill them, or maybe they're witches or something. All these crazy women in the woods are congregating with dead guys all over the place, and I can't help but laugh at that man dressed as a hot dog over in the corner. That's hilarious. They're just rolling him on the ground. Genuinely funny and subtle humor. You know, at first it doesn't seem so bad. I can't say I'd be that, upset. Mr. Wilkins is surrounded by beautiful ladies, one right on top of him. I'm just saying, there's a much worse position you can find yourself in. And that's exactly what happens. They're werewolves. They look awesome. Yeah, there's some use of CG to make everything look a bit more modern that of course doesn't age well, but the practical effects look great here. These ladies' entire plot was to lure men into the woods and feast. And then the final tale of the evening. I think this might be my favorite one because it really falls back on the overall theme of the movie, Halloween. The rules of Halloween. The main character here is Mr. Wilkins' neighbor, old Mr. Krieg. Turns out the bus driver from earlier that killed the kids in the school bus survived and made it back home, changing his name to Mr. Krieg. He is the bus driver. He's been living the life of a hermit. Maybe he's got some kind of lifelong guilt over what he did. Maybe he just hates kids and he hates Halloween. When kids come trick-or-treating, he refuses to give them candy and focuses on scaring them away. Uh-oh, he broke one of Halloween's sacred rules. You gotta pass out candy. Pumpkins have appeared, and Sam is always watching. You disrespect Halloween, and you will pay. He's so quick, too. I love that you still don't see his face. They keep it mysterious for a bit. You think to yourself, what is he hiding? What does he look like under there? What is this small child capable of? It's clear there's nothing natural about him. He made candy appear all over the stairs, sending Mr. Krieg tumbling down. There's razor blades mixed in with the candy. Mr. Krieg is not doing too well. How do you stop this crazed child? Well, Sam isn't a child at all, is he? When we finally see his face, it is epic. Sam is a pumpkin demon, born in a pumpkin patch, an evil Halloween spirit. Thankfully, all you have to do to take care of a pumpkin demon is shoot him in the face and unload a couple of rounds in him. But that did seem a little too easy. Sam's not done yet. No way in hell. His little hand crawls back to the body and wakes him up. It reconnects to him since he's all pumpkin-y inside, and Sam is back in business. He respawned with full health. You can't break the rules of Halloween and not get a good spook. But Sam is a merciful soul, it seems. Mr. Krieg survives the encounter, and Sam simply leaves, opening the door without even touching it. He's got better things to do. And I absolutely love the ending for Mr. Krieg, since he got his ass stomped by Sam. He has a change of heart, kind of like Scrooge suddenly loving Christmas, but the Halloween version. Mr. Krieg decides to open his door for trick-or-treaters and pass out candy. A job well done, much to Sam's delight. But the school bus children have been awakened from before, and his debt must be paid.
Trick or treat.
Trick or Treat is just so awesome. I just can't watch this movie enough. I do watch it multiple times throughout the year, but when it's Halloween season, I have this movie on repeat. It's a modern classic, and it's one of my must-watch movies during Halloween season. Several stories like Creepshow, introducing an iconic little monster that terrorizes people, and it should be part of yours as well. Leave me some comments down below and tell me what some of your favorite movies to watch during Halloween are. I'll catch you guys later. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.